I watched a video. I was telling Taylor earlier. There's a 911 call at like a Hooters type restaurant. The police show up and windows busted in, and there's a bloody rock inside the restaurant, and they're looking at it like, what the fuck? It's a real mystery. And suddenly they get another call, and it's like across the road and on the opposite side of another shopping center that's very close by. It's the pet shop, also been broken into. They drive over to the pet shop, and there's animals everywhere. Parking lot's full of dogs. There's birds hopping around, squawking. There's kittens running around, and the window's knocked out of the pet stores. The cops go in.
I figured it out. I Sherlock Holmes this.
Yeah.
Jailbreak at the pet store. They take their rock. They break into the furniture store, and they try to rob it.
No.
Perfect.
All the clues are there.
They go into the pet store, and like some of the puppies have been freed, and the birds have been freed, and the birds have blood on them because like the guy who has broken in has cut himself, and as he's freeing animals, he's getting blood on them. But there's no bad.
Did he cut himself?
Well, like there's a good bit of blood on the bird.
If I cut myself so badly, I'm bleeding all over the birds I'm trying to free. I have a new priority.
The cop's picking up the bird. The cop picks up the bird, and the bird bites him. He's He's like, I don't fuck with birds. And like walks away, and then they get another call. There's someone's broken in at another business, like another few blocks away. So they all head over there, and there he is. This guy is asleep on the park bench in front of this other establishment, wearing a cheetah print onesie and nothing else. And so they fall upon him, and they start arresting him and trying to get his hands behind his back. And that's when they discover his pants are full of gerbils. And
the real Richard Gere. They call him the Richard Gere criminal.
and he's resisting. And they know this guy. This is a local like homeless crazy man named Mr Pancake. And so they're screaming at him, "Stop resisting, Mr Pancake! Mr Pancake, stop resisting!" And they're like trying to get his hands behind his back. And they finally get him all locked up. And they're fishing these gerbils out of his pants. He's like, "I got one over here. Yeah, I got one too. Are there any more?" And then one of the cops goes, "Mr. Pancake, I'm going to ask you a very serious question. This is for your own safety. Are there any more gerbils inside of you?" So like more and more cops are showing up, and there's a lady cop.
Were there any gerbils in Mr. Pancake?
There were not, thankfully, any gerbils. There were two safe and sound gerbils found inside his pants leg. And those gerbils, the cops hold them, and he's like, "Hey, Sarge, should we take these in as evidence? Or should you just take pictures and return them to the store?" And he's like, "Yeah, take pictures and return them to the store." We're not taking the gerbils in as evidence. But it was one of the best police activity videos I've seen in a while. Usually it's
I bet Mr. Pancake wasn't even his name.
Oh, it was. It definitely was.
Plot twist, it's the name of the gerbil.
He's being ratatouilleed around the to free the other animals. Man, yeah. So how was he bleeding all over the cops?
Not that I noticed, but it was dark, and they're wrestling him down here.
Did you see that horrible video? Maybe we mentioned this on the Hangout last month, but did you see that horrible video of that dude who was like mad at someone in a house or in a building on the other side of a window? And he did something which is like mind-boggling, which is like throw a hook into a pane glass window. Like if I were to try and if someone was like, "Break this fucking pane glass window with your hand or I'm going to shoot you," I'd be like, I'd be like trying to hit
it hard with the back of your knuckle.
Like I'd be trying to break it like just the littlest bit. And he just was, a hook.
Yep.
And then he just immediately went from like mad to dying on the lawn. Hated that.
I kept coming upon that video on my phone, and I would flick my thumb real quick as soon as he threw the punch because I knew what was going to happen. Because as soon as he throws it, the glass cracks diagonally, and his arm slices through it, and he cuts open his forearm so badly, and it's gushing blood. And it's like you got like 10, 15 seconds, and you're out, dude. You're dead.
It seemed like he was trying to kill someone inside or something. And then as soon as he's cut, that person's his friend. Gina, call the cops. I'm hurt. Like Zach, now he's asking them to help.
Zach said it was his ex's house.
Mm-hmm. And he slit his wrist. What happened to him?
I mean, That looked like the kind of cut where it's like, unless you do that at the hospital, and even then, like you just. Oh my God! Kind of fucked.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I love my police activity. This guy the other day got arrested, and he was kind of arrested, but he needed to go to the hospital because I think he'd been in a car accident and he didn't have the right paperwork or whatever. So it's like, you're under arrest, but you're going to the hospital, and it wasn't too aggressive. And they don't search him, and he doesn't want to go to the hospital, but they get him in the ambulance anyway, and he goes, and they're in the hospital room. He's in the hospital bed. And there's 2 cops in the room with him having a very casual conversation. And the cop's like, hey, buddy, let me tap you down real quick. And the guy stands up, and the cop's patting him down. And the cop that's patting him down looks over at the other cop and goes, he's got a gun. He's got a gun. And the other cop's like, what? And now we're fighting. All 3 of us are fighting for the gun. And now the gun's going off. And now everybody's running and jumping. And now 1 cop is remained in the room with his gun. The bad guy's in the other corner of the hospital, in a hospital room. You know how big they are. It's like a tiny little room. We both have guns. We were in opposite corners with the bed between us, and we're having a gunfight that involves more cops who are off screen also fighting with guns. And so he's like, all right, stop shooting. And everybody stopped shooting. And they're like, do not move for that gun, or we are going to shoot some more. And he's like, I'm laying on it. You are not laying on it. You are reaching for it. I'm just going to move it. Do not. And we're all fighting again. It was crazy. Like we had and I'm just imagining working in that hospital.
I assume he dies and the cops are okay.
I'm pretty sure they killed the shit out of him. They shot him quite a few times. They've got a new taser now that I think is going to save a lot of lives. I think it's called an X10 or something like that. Basically, in the front of it, instead of just having 1 shot at somebody where it shoots those 2 barbs out, it has like maybe 10 pods, each with a barb and a wire in it. And every trigger pull shoots another 1. And so you need 2 to stun somebody because we're going to send the current in 1 and alternate it back and forth. But you've got 10. So I saw this lady cop dealing with a guy with a thick jacket. And the first, she was going, just letting him have it. And she looked like Spider-Man shooting webbing. Yeah, because they come out as fast as you can pull the trigger. And they're those probes with barbs on them with wires connected. It's so cool. That's going to save a lot of people because the regular taser just fails maybe half the time or something, maybe more. It almost always fails.
What's taser been doing? Like, seems like this should have been figured out a while ago.
Yeah, this thing is cool though.
I saw a police activity video, or at least a clip of one, Kyle, where this guy was wielding a knife on the streets of like Philly or something, just in like a t-shirt and pants. And he's like brandishing the knife, being a bit of a nuisance, doing things like threatening to stab people and trying to stab people. And the cops are like, put it down. And then he starts like, coming at him with the knife, and he pops him a couple times. And the guy's like on the ground, like very badly wounded, still has the knife in his hands, and he's like, put the knife down. And the guy's like, trying to get it moving again. And the cop just shoots him in the head. It's like he's on the ground dying, someone's standing over with a gun, and he tried to go out like Boromir, as though he had to
with my last breath I stab at thee.
One more slash in.
In his head, that was a way cooler moment. That was like a Thanos thumb snap moment when he like rose up. He probably thought he looked cool doing it. Instead, he just
he like didn't even get up off his back. Started to like do a sit up. Then and like behind him, it's not even dramatic. There's like some opiate addict nodding off, doing that like Thriller thing where they're bending over.
I saw one the other day where the cop runs into the house. 2 cops run into the house. And the bad guy has taken a hostage. He's got a woman with a knife at her throat, just like in the movies. And they're sat down. The bad guy and the woman are sat down on the floor, bed to their back. He's got the knife at her throat. And the cop is 2 feet away and just goes, dude, bang, and just shoots him in the face as quick as that. And it was just, the whole situation was over. That was crazy.
I saw that one.
Oof.